Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're talking about orchestrating customer interactions. Getting that perfect message out right when it matters.
Yeah, based on what someone's doing or maybe on a schedule, it's about being relevant, timely.
Exactly. And we're going to focus on one specific tool that handles this. Adobe Journey Optimizer, or AJO.
Right. AJO. It's pretty powerful for building these kinds of experiences.
We've got these flashcards, actually. They cover a lot of the basics, but also some really specific niche features of AJO. It seems pretty comprehensive.
Looks like it covers the high-frequency stuff in the deeper corners, too.
So our mission today, to really pull apart AJO, understand its core ideas, and figure out how it actually helps create these personalized customer journeys.
Sounds good. Breaking it down.
Whether you're just hearing about AJ or, a bit but want to get clearer on certain things, hopefully this will give you a solid understanding without, getting totally lost in the weeds.
Yeah, let's demystify it a bit.
Okay, so where do we even start? What's the absolute foundation of AJO?
It all starts with the journey. That's the fundamental building block.
A journey. Okay, what does that mean in AJO terms?
Think of it like a plan, right? A multi-step orchestration. But the key thing is it reacts in real time.
React to what?
To profile behavior, what a customer is actually doing, or it can be triggered based on a schedule you set up. It's dynamic, responsive.
So it's not just a fixed path everyone follows.
No, not at all. That's the point. It adapts, moving beyond just blasting messages to engaging individuals when it actually makes sense for them.
Right, that makes sense. Hyper-relevant moments, like you said. Okay, these flashcards mention different types of journeys. What are they?
Primarily, there are two main journey types. You've got event-triggered and scheduled.
Event-triggered, that sounds immediate.
It is, very much so. It's real-time, specific to one person's actions, like, say someone abandons their shopping cart online.
Wow, the classic example.
Right. That action, that event, can trigger a journey designed just for them, maybe to remind them or offer help. It's about that individual response.
Got it. One-to-one, based on behavior, and the other type, scheduled.
Yep, scheduled journeys. These are more like what you might traditionally think of. They're batch-based.
Yeah.
Meaning they run on a set schedule, daily, weekly, whatever, and they target a defined audience that you've already built.
Like sending out a weekly newsletter.
Exactly like that. That's a perfect example of a scheduled journey, targeting an audience on a regular cadence.
Okay, clear distinction. Event-triggered is real-time and individual. Scheduled is batch and audience-based. So how do these journeys actually, start? What kicks them off?
Good question. There are a few main ways. First up are unitary events.
Unitary events. That sounds like the event-triggered stuff again.
It is. These are those real-time triggers, specific to a single profile coming from streaming data. Your abandoned cart example. That's a unitary event. It's about you, right now.
Immediate. Personal. Okay, what else?
Then you have business events. These are a bit different. They aren't tied to one specific person's profile initially.
No.
They signal something happened, maybe a system event or a general condition met, but they don't automatically know who to target. You need to select an audience to associate with that event to start a journey.
Ah, okay, so the event happens, then you point it at an audience. Less direct than unitary.
Right. Then there are audience qualification events.
Let me guess. This triggers when someone joins an audience.
Or leaves one, yeah. If a profile's attributes or behavior change, so they suddenly enter or exit a specific segment you've defined, that qualification event can trigger a journey.
Ooh, that's useful. So someone becomes a high-value customer, and boom, they get a special welcome journey.
Exactly. Or maybe they lapse, and that triggers a different kind of journey. It's very dynamic based on audience membership.
Okay, one more.
The last main one is read audience activity. This is more straightforward. You basically just take an existing audience segment and push everyone in it into a journey all at once or over time.
Like a starting point for a big batch send, but potentially more complex than just a single message.
Precisely. Good for broad outreach, where you still want that multi-step journey logic.
Okay, got the starting triggers. Now, thinking about those real-time triggers, like unitary events, what stops someone from getting spammed if they trigger the same event, like 5 times in a minute? Add to cart, remove, add, remove.
Yeah, good point. AJO has something called re-entrance rules built in.
Okay.
By default, there's an automatic 5-minute block. If someone triggers the same journey event within 5 minutes of the last time, they won't re-enter the journey immediately.
So it prevents that rapid-fire entry. That's smart. Keeps the experience better and probably helps deliverability too.
Definitely. It's a crucial little safeguard.
Okay, so AJO manages the flow. Can it, like, talk to other systems?
Hmm.
Or is it all self-contained?
Oh, no, it's designed to connect. That's where custom actions come in.
Custom actions.
Hmm.
So, like, calling out to other software.
Exactly. You can configure AJO to make API calls to external platforms. Think SMS providers, maybe updating your main CRM system, sending a message via WhatsApp. Lots of possibilities.
So you can use AJO to orchestrate actions across different channels,
Mm-hmm.
even ones not built into AJO itself?
Yep, that's the idea. Extensibility.
Very cool. Okay, so a journey starts, maybe sends a message. Does just keep going, or can it change based on whether I, say, open that message?
It absolutely can change. That's a key feature, handled by reaction events.
Reaction events, like reacting to my reaction?
Pretty much. AJO can listen for engagement signals, opens, clicks, things like that on the messages it sends. And then you can use those signals in your journey logic. Someone clicks link A, they go down path X. Someone clicks link B, they go down path Y. Or if they don't open it at all after a while, maybe you try a different channel.
So the journey itself adapts based on what I actually do with the communication.
Right. It makes the whole flow much more intelligent and, well, relevant.
That is intelligent. Now, specifically on email, sending emails relies heavily on reputation. How does AJO handle things like bounces or spam complaints? You don't want to keep sending to bad addresses.
No, you definitely don't. AJO has a suppression list. It automatically maintains this list. When an email hard bounces, or if someone marks it as spam or complains, that address gets added to the suppression list.
And future sends avoid those addresses.
Correct. It automatically excludes them, which is critical for maintaining good email deliverability and protecting your sender reputation.
Yeah, table stakes for serious email marketing.
Yeah.
Okay, we've covered starting journeys, reacting, managing lists. What about making sure the content itself is the best fit? The right offer, maybe.
Now you're getting into decision management. This is a really powerful part of AJO.
Decision management. Sounds important.
It is. It's all about delivering the most relevant offer or piece of content to each individual. It uses rules, frequency capping, ranking, basically a system to figure out the best thing to show someone right now in a particular spot.
Instead of just guessing or sending the same promo to everyone.
Exactly. It moves you towards that intelligent delivery. Significantly boosts effectiveness if you get it right.
Okay, I want to unpack that. Decision management. What are the key components? The flashcards mention a few things. Offer.
Right. An offer isn't just the creative, like the image or text. It's a reusable marketing concept that includes the content plus rules. Rules about who's eligible, maybe how often it can be shown, start-end dates.
So the offer itself has intelligence built in.
Kind of, yeah. Then you group these offers into an offer collection. That's basically the pool of candidates for a specific decision.
Like a menu of options?
A menu, exactly. And the decision is the brain. It's the logic that looks at the offer collection, looks at the user's profile and context, evaluates the eligibility rules, and picks the winning offer or offers.
Picks the winner. What if, like, nothing really fits, or the person's seen all the eligible offers recently?
Good question. That's where the fallback offer comes in. It's the default content you show if no primary offers are eligible or if capping rules prevent them. Ensures you always show something.
A safety net for the content itself.
Okay.
Okay. And you mentioned showing offers in a particular spot. What's that about?
Those are placements. You define specific areas within your channels, like the hero banner in an email, a pop-up on your website, maybe a section in your mobile app, where these decisions can deliver offers.
So the decision knows where the offer is going to appear.
Yes, and that can influence the choice too. And finally, there's capping.
We talked about reentrance capping. This is different.
Similar concept, but applied to offers or actions. Capping lets you limit how often a specific offer, or maybe any offer in a certain category, can be shown to a single person or even globally within a given time frame.
To avoid fatigue. Stop showing me the same deal.
Exactly that. Prevents offer fatigue and makes sure you're spreading things out appropriately.
Makes total sense. So that's deciding what to show, but we still need the who. How does AJO handle the audience side of things?
It relies heavily on audience segmentation, typically using Adobe's real-time customer data platform, or RTCDP.
RTCDP.
AJO can use segments defined in RTCDP, and these segments can be different types. There are streaming segments.
Real time again.
Yep. These update almost instantly as customer data changes. Perfect for reacting to things that just happened.
Like if I just browse shoes, I could immediately enter a shoe browser segment.
Precisely. Then there are edge segments.
Edge? What does that mean?
Edge segments are evaluated directly on the client side, like in the user's web browser or mobile app. This makes them super fast, ideal for things like website personalization where you want the content to change instantly as someone navigates.
Ah, so the decision happens right there on my device for speed.
Right. And of course, you still have your standard batch segments, which update on the schedule, usually daily. AJO can use all of these.
Flexible. Okay, so journeys are these complex reactive things. But the flashcards also mention campaigns. How do they fit in? Are they just simpler journeys?
You can think of them that way. Campaigns in AJ are generally for one-time sends.
One-time sends, like a blast.
Yeah, pretty much. They can be scheduled to go out at a specific time or triggered via an API call, but they lack that multi-step branching reactive logic that defines a journey.
So if I just want to send a single email announcing a sale to a specific list, that's probably a campaign.
That's a classic use case for a campaign, yes. Simpler setup for simpler needs.
Got it. Send and done versus an ongoing adaptive flow. Now, inside these journeys and campaigns, what tools does AJO give us for actually communicating, like sending the email or push notification?
AJO has built-in channel actions. Natively, it supports email and push notifications.
So you can build and send emails and push messages right from AJO itself.
Yes, for those channels, the functionality is right there. You design the content, configure the sending properties, all within the journey or campaign workflow.
Convenient. Saves integrating another tool just for basic email or push. Now, something super important, respecting choices, privacy, consent. How does AJO handle that? People opting out.
Consent management is a core part of the integration with the underlying profile system, RTCDP.
How does it work in practice?
You manage consent preferences, opt-ins, opt-outs for different channels as attributes on the customer profile in RTCDP. AJO can then read these preferences.
So, before sending an email in a journey,
It checks the profile's consent status for email. If the person has opted out, they're automatically excluded from that step. It enforces those preferences.
crucial, absolutely crucial for compliance and trust. Okay, let's shift gears a bit. The flashcards have a section labeled B, niche terms. Sounds like we're going deeper now. First one, journey versioning. Why versions?
Journey versioning. So imagine your journey is live, people are going through it, but you need to change something. Maybe update an email, tweak a waiting period.
You don't want to just stop it and start over, right? Especially if people are mid-flow.
Exactly. Versioning lets you create a new version of that live journey. You make your edits in the new version, test it, and then publish it. New people entering the journey will start using the new version, while those already in older versions usually continue on their path.
And the trigger stays the same.
The trigger type, yes, has to remain consistent across versions, but it's a much cleaner way to manage updates.
Much better than a hard stop and rebuild. Okay, next niche term, incremental read. What's that?
Okay, remember the read audience activity for starting journeys, where you pull in a whole audience.
Yeah.
If you have that step set up to run repeatedly, say, every day you want to pull in new members of your loyal customer segment, incremental read is an optimization.
How so?
Instead of reprocessing the entire audience every single day, incremental read only pulls in profiles that have newly qualified for the audience since the last time it ran.
So it just grabs the delta, the new folks.
Yeah.
Much more efficient, I bet.
Can be, yeah, especially with large audiences that change frequently. Saves processing load.
Makes sense. Okay, what about timeouts? Setting a time limit.
Timeouts are important for managing flow, especially when you're waiting for something. Let's say you have a wait step in your journey, waiting for someone to click an email link.
But what if they never click?
Exactly. You don't want them stuck in that wait step forever. A timeout defines the maximum time to wait, maybe 2 days, 3 days, whatever. If the event, the click, doesn't happen within that time,
Then what?
then the timeout triggers and the person is routed down an alternative path you define. Maybe they get a reminder email, or maybe they just exit that branch of the journey. It keeps things moving.
Prevents journeys from getting jammed up.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay, data sources. Sounds like pulling in external info.
That's precisely it. Data sources allow your journey, mid-flow, to make a real-time, synchronous API call to an external system to fetch data.
During the journey itself.
Yep. So for a specific person going through the journey, you could say, call out to your order management system to get their latest order status right then.
And use that status to decide the next step.
Exactly. Personalize the next message based on whether their order shipped, is delayed, etc. Adds another layer of real-time context.
Very powerful. Okay, technical side again. Throttling rules versus capping rules, they sound similar. Managing load.
They are both about managing load when AJO calls external systems via custom actions or data sources, but they work differently. Throttling rules are more like traffic shaping. If AJO tries to send too many calls too quickly to an external endpoint, throttling will queue the excess calls and introduce delays potentially up to 6 hours to spread them out.
So it slows things down gracefully to avoid overwhelming the other system.
Right. Capping rules, however, are a hard limit. You set a maximum number of calls per second, or other time unit. If you exceed that cap, any extra calls are just dropped. They don't get queued, they fail immediately.
Oh, so throttling is polite, capping is strict. Why use capping then?
To absolutely prevent overloading a sensitive system, even if it means some calls fail, it's a stricter protection mechanism. Both are about ensuring stability.
Got it. Throttle to smooth, cap to protect, absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, alternative pathing. We touched on this with timeouts, but is it broader?
Yes, it's a general concept for error handling within journey actions. When you configure an action, like sending an email or calling a custom action, you can define an alternative path.
What triggers it?
If that action fails, maybe the email provider returns an error, the custom API times out, or the integration fails. Instead of the whole journey stopping for that person, they get routed down the alternative path.
So you can handle errors gracefully within the journey itself.
Exactly. Maybe log the error, maybe try a different channel, maybe just end that path cleanly. It makes the journeys much more resilient.
Resilient, good word for it. Okay, before we unleash these complex journeys, how do we test them?
AJO has a dedicated test mode.
How does that work?
You can activate test mode for a specific journey version. Then you can push designated test profiles through the journey. You can watch them progress, see if the logic works, check the emails they receive.
But it's all sandboxed. Doesn't affect real customers or reporting.
Correct. All test mode activity is isolated. Test emails might have special markers, and crucially, none of the data generated during testing pollutes your actual performance reports. It's essential for quality assurance.
Definitely. Test before you deploy. Okay, content experiments. Is this A/B testing?
Yep, that's exactly what it is. Content experiments allow you to set up ABN tests for your content within a journey or campaign.
How does it assign users to A or B?
It typically uses deterministic hashing based on the profile's ID. This means the same person consistently gets assigned to the same experience, A or B, throughout the experiment, which is important for reliable results.
So you can reliably see which version performs better on opens, clicks, conversions.
Right. It's built-in optimization testing.
Very useful. Then we have offer constraints. We talked about offers and capping. How is this different?
Offer constraints add another layer of rules on top of the basic eligibility and capping within decision management.
Like what kind of rules?
You could set frequency constraints across multiple offers. For example, show max 3 promotional offers per week. You could define exclusivity rules. If offer A is shown, don't show offer B in the same interaction. Or you can set priorities between different offers within a collection.
So really fine-grained control over the overall offer strategy beyond just individual offer rules.
Exactly. More sophisticated governance of your offers.
Okay, and the last niche one, journey end step. Seems obvious, but why call it out?
It is pretty straightforward, but explicitly adding an end step to mark the conclusion of a path in your journey is good practice.
Why?
Mainly for clarity and reporting. It makes it very clear in the journey canvas where a specific path terminates. And in reporting, it can make it easier to track how many people successfully completed a particular branch versus exiting somewhere else. It's about clean design and analysis.
Just good hygiene for complex flows.
Oh, no.
Makes sense. Okay, that covered the niche stuff. Let's talk results. How do we know if any of this is working? Reporting.
Yes, journey reporting is key. AJO offers different levels. There's a live report.
Live, like right now.
Pretty much. It gives you a dashboard focused on the last 24 hours. You see entries, actions taken, errors, engagement, almost in real time. You can filter it, customize the widgets, good for immediate monitoring.
Okay, for a quick pulse check, what about longer-term analysis?
For that, there's the main journey report. This typically leverages Adobe's Customer Journey Analytics, CJA, for a much deeper end-to-end view.
What kind of metrics are in there?
Entries, exits, where people dropped off, path performance, conversion tracking tied back to journey steps, detailed engagement over time, much more comprehensive.
So, live for the immediate, journey report powered by CJA for the deep dive analysis.
You got it.
What about those simpler campaigns? Do they get reports too?
Yep, campaign reporting tracks the overall performance of your one-off sends. Standard stuff, delivery rates, bounces, opens, clicks, unsubscribes, etc., aggregated across the whole campaign send.
Good. And for email, any specific focus on getting into the inbox? Email deliverability.
Yes, deliverability is monitored. You'll see metrics related to bounce rates and the suppression list activity in the live reporting. Keeping an eye on those helps you gauge the health of your email sending practices.
Vital, as we said before. Okay, we talk about profiles and segments. How does AJO know who is who? Especially if someone has multiple identifiers, like an email and a loyalty ID.
That boils down to the identity namespace.
Namespace.
It's basically the definition of how you identify people. You define namespaces like email, ECI'd, Adobe's Experience Cloud ID, CRM ID, etc. The crucial thing is that the identity used in your journey, trigger, or audience needs to match the namespace AJO is expecting.
So if the journey is triggered by an email event, the profiles need to be identifiable by email in that namespace.
Exactly. The keys need to match the locks.
Makes sense. And can we change profile information from a journey? Like mark that someone completed a step?
Yes, through profile updates. There's an action step you can add to write data back to the customer's profile in RTCDP.
What would you use that for?
Common use is to update a status flag, like set welcome journey completed to true on the profile once they finish that journey, or maybe store the date they last received a certain type of offer.
So the journey itself enriches the profile data based on interactions.
Correct. It helps maintain that up-to-date view.
And this all contributes to that idea of a single customer view, right? Profile identity.
Yes, profile identity in AEP-RTCDP is about stitching together all those different identifiers and data points for a single person into one unified profile. AJO leverages that unified view to orchestrate experiences consistently.
Got it. And just to circle back on consent, how are those preferences typically stored on the profile?
Often using consent flags. These are usually simple Boolean true-false attributes on the profile, like consent email, true, consentment's false.
And AJO just checks those flags before acting.
Exactly. It filters based on those flags to ensure compliance with the customer's stated preferences. They act as gatekeepers.
Simple but effective. Okay, one last check on errors. We mentioned alternative paths for actions. What about fallback paths? Flashcards mention them for wait condition and action blocks. Is it the same idea?
Very similar, yes. It's about defining the what-if scenario for those specific block types. For a wait block, the fallback path triggers if the wait time expires, like the timeout. For a condition block, it's the path taken if the condition evaluates to false. And for actions, it handles failures or timeouts just like alternative passing. It's just the term used in the context of those specific blocks.
So built-in Plan B logic at multiple points in the journey structure.
Exactly. Makes the whole thing more robust.
Okay, wow. We've covered a lot of ground.
Yeah.
Just to really hammer it home one last time. Campaign versus journey. The elevator pitch difference.
Campaign. One-time send, usually to a broad audience. Static message. Think blast.
Okay.
Journey. Multi-step, ongoing, dynamic. Reacts to individual behavior or schedules. Can branch and adapt. Think guided, personalized experience.
One shot versus adaptive flow. Crystal clear. And you said the audiences AJO uses are built in AEPRT CDP. Or specifically
in the segmentation workspace. That's the UI within Adobe Experience Platform where you define the rules, combine traits and behaviors, and actually build those audience segments that AJO then uses for targeting.
AEP builds the audiences, AJO engages them.
That's a great way to put it.
Fantastic. Well, this has been incredibly insightful. It's really clear that Adobe Journey Optimizer is a seriously capable platform for crafting these complex, personalized customer interactions.
Absolutely. We've gone from the core idea of a real-time journey through event triggers, decisioning, custom actions, all the way to reporting and niche features like versioning and constraints. There's a lot there.
It definitely offers a comprehensive toolkit for businesses wanting to connect in ways that feel genuinely relevant and timely.
Moving beyond generic messaging to something much more tailored.
So for listeners looking to elevate their customer engagement, maybe move past simple bash and blast, AJO seems like a very strong contender to investigate further.
It certainly provides the tools for that sophisticated orchestration.
Okay, so let's leave everyone with a final thought. Imagine a customer journey that doesn't just react, but genuinely adapts. One that anticipates what someone might need next, based on everything it knows about them. Not just clicks, but preferences, history, context.
A truly predictive and adaptive journey.
Right. How could that kind of dynamic, almost intuitive approach completely change the relationship a business has with its customers? Something to think about.
Definitely food for thought.
We really encourage everyone to check out more resources from Adobe if this sparked your interest, and consider how these ideas might apply to your own world. Thanks so much for joining us on this deep dive.